Today we are talking about the fruitful ground, which Jesus called the good ground. In the parable of the sower, we are teaching from my book, Think, Believe, Become. And we are in Mark chapter 4, verse 20. But these are the ones sown on good ground. Those who hear the word, accept it, and bear fruit. Some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100. So, of the 4 grounds that we've discussed, this is ground number 4, the good ground, which we are calling the fruitful heart. And this is the only one of the 4 which bore fruit. So here we discuss why this ground bore fruit and what was special about it that caused it to be fruitful when the other ones were not fruitful. This ground brought forth some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100-fold. So this is speaking of a person. According to our process that we've discussed, we know that this is talking of the process of hearing the word, receiving the word, or believing the word, standing on the word, meditating in the word until you allow the word to bring forth fruit. And so we see that in the first 3 grounds, each of them engaged in the process to a certain extent, but not fully. The first ground, which was the wayside, they received the word, but they did not understand the word. So that was as far as they could go. Just hear the word, but they could not understand it. So the enemy, the devil, came and stole the word from their heart. And the second ground, we saw that the second ground, they received the word, they understood the word, they got excited about the word, but they did not allow the word to establish deep roots in them because their heart was stony. And so when trials and afflictions and persecutions came because of that word, they lost it. They got offended and they lost the word. The third ground we saw was the thorny ground. And in the thorny ground, they heard the word, they believed the word, they even established deep roots in the word, but the moment they began to taste a little success, that's the word now beginning, the plant beginning to come out of the ground, they lost it. How? Because they got diverted by the cares of this world, by the deceitfulness of riches, and by the lusts of other things. So they lost the word. Now, in the 4th ground, these ones hear the word, they believe, they understand the word, they believe the word, they begin to see a little success from the word, but they don't stop. They continue to be in the word. They continue in the word, even though they're beginning to see some success, they're beginning to see some money, they're beginning to see some good health, they're beginning to see some prosperity and victory in life. They don't forsake the word to pursue those other things. They continue in the word. They are focused on the word, and as a result, they bear fruit. Now, the question that we need to ask about this ground was that, why was this one fruitful when the others weren't? And the answer is really interesting. It's because this ground had no diversions. This ground did not have stones or rocks in it to prevent the roots from going deep. It did not have thorns. The key to it was focus, singular focus. And that's talking of having nothing in your life, having nothing in your heart that you are allowing to divert you from the word. This does not mean that you don't have success, or you don't have responsibilities, or you don't have a family, or you don't have things to do. It just means that you don't allow anything else to divert you from the word. It means that the word is very important to you, that you stay in the word all the time, and that even as you're working, even as you're doing other things, you're meditating and staying in the word, and you do that over a period of time. If you notice in Luke chapter 8 and verse 15, which is the same passage, this is what it says. Remember, we said that Luke chapter 8, Mark chapter 4, and Matthew 13 is the same. They're talking about the same thing. It actually does good to study them comparatively. In Luke chapter 8, verse 15, it says, "But the ones that fell on the good ground are those who, having heard the word with a noble and good heart, keep it and bear fruit with patience." You see, he says that they bear fruit with patience. These ones got the word in there, but they stayed in the word and gave it time. And they brought forth fruit because they gave the word time to work in their heart. They were not quick to forsake the word. They were not quick to abandon the word. They were not quick to run into other things. They did not forsake the word. They stayed in it. They gave it time. They allowed it to bear the fruit that it could bear in their lives. It's important for you to continue believing the word over a long period of time. It's important for you to hear the word, the gospel, and to stay in it over an extended period of time, to continuously meditate over an extended period of time. Don't hear the word and want results from that word in 1 week or in 1 month or sometimes even in 1 year. You need to go and give it enough time. Just like a farmer planting seed in the ground, he does not go and pull it out after 3 days or after 1 week or after 1 month because it's not bearing fruit. You leave it in there. The farmer leaves that seed in that ground. Even when they begin to see the shoot coming out, they leave it in there and they allow it to grow until it brings forth its fruit. Growth is different from fruitfulness. Growth is the plant growing, but fruitfulness is the plant fulfilling its purpose. Fruitfulness is the plant now bringing forth fruit, bearing fruit. So you see, you need to allow the word to grow and to observe that growth happening in your life, but you need to allow it to go to its logical conclusion, which is fruitfulness, which is the word bringing forth fruit, bearing tangible, visible fruit in your life. As the word works in you, this is what it will do for you. Now, see in Hebrews chapter 6 and verse 11, he says, "And we desire that each one of you show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope until the end, that you do not become sluggish, but imitate those who through faith and patience inherit the promises." It says, who through faith and patience inherit the promises. So you realize that God's success and God's fruitfulness takes time. It's a process. It doesn't happen instantly. Now, miracles happen instantly, but the parable of the sower is teaching us beyond miracles. It's teaching us to live in the life of the blessing, the life of the word. Miracles require you to be in a crisis, but this is not about crisis. This is you bearing fruit throughout the year, not waiting until you're almost dying before God can intervene and give you a miracle. So we see that it says that by faith and patience they inherit the promises. By faith and patience you bring forth fruit. God's success takes time. You need to trust the process. You need to trust what God is doing in your heart over the long haul, over a long period of time, and allow him to do that over time. Now notice it says that it will bring forth some 30-fold, some 60, and some 100-fold. He says that they are bringing forth some 30, some 50, some 100. Now notice this, that the seed is the same in all of these grounds. The seed did not change. The seed was the same. The sower was the same. And all of them are fruitful. All of them are good ground. So why did some bring 30, some bring 60, and some bring 100? That is dependent on the ground, on the heart. The word of God is the same for all of us, and the sower of the word is the same for all of us. The difference in fruitfulness is because we are different. It's because some of us have more focus than other ones. Some of us have more perseverance, more endurance, more diligence, more faithfulness to the word. It's also dependent on our level of revelation or understanding of God. Those who understand God better, who know God's nature better, that he is love, that is good all the time, that is a God of peace, that is a God of grace, are going to bring forth more fruit than those who don't. So you see, I'll prove that later as we go on, but you realize that the more you walk in the light, the greater your manifestation of fruit. And the light is not talking about a holy life. The light is talking about the revelation, the true revelation of God's true nature, who God really is. We are going to talk about that as we continue. But as you take the word in your heart and allow it to grow and do what you need to do and be diligent and be faithful and persevere and trust God and depend on God's love and rest in God's love, you bring forth fruit. Some 30, some 60, and some 100. But the seed is the same. But listen to this. This is also important. Even 30-fold is very good. 30-fold is better than 0-fold. You see. So even the one who brings forth 30-fold fruit of the word is better than the one who brings forth no fruit. 30-fold is life-changing. But we engage the word, we stay in the word, we meditate, we focus on it. We don't allow to be distracted by life and by pressures and by things. We stay in the word, and over a period of time, we bring forth fruit. Now, who determines how long it's going to take for the fruit to come? It's you. It's your level of focus, your level of commitment, your level of endurance in the word. Your commitment to the word you're hearing is going to determine how quickly you bring forth fruit. If you give it token commitment, you will have a longer period to bring forth fruit. If you are diligent and commit to the word intensely, then you will bring forth fruit quickly, and a lot of fruit. We are going to talk about that too as we keep reading in the parable of the sower. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. That's the good ground, the fruitful ground. What we learn from this ground is that have zero distractions. Have God as the center, as the most important person in your life. You have Jesus as the center that you're focusing on, and you have the word of God as that thing that you are engaging in and indulging every single day, and allow it to grow in you and to bring forth the fruit that it's able to bring forth. Allow the word to work. Allow the word to bring forth fruit. Be patient. Stay in it. If things in the physical are not working, you just stay in the word. If you're poor and sick and not victorious, you stay in the word. You continue trusting God. You stay in the word. You keep speaking it. You keep meditating on it. You keep praying it. You keep speaking it, reading it, hearing it, going to church, doing whatever you need to do, and allowing it over a period of time to conquer your heart and to conquer your mind and to begin to bear forth its fruit. But the word of God works, and it will bring forth fruit in the ground where it is allowed to settle and to establish deep roots and to do what it wants to do. So I'm done for today. My name is Felix. I'll be back talking about the parable of the sower, and you can go to Amazon.com, get my book Think, Believe, Become. Subscribe, like, share, do all of that stuff. Share with your in-laws, outlaws, friends, enemies, those you like, those you don't like, and just share and bless them. And we will continue studying this. So thank you and goodbye.